These last weeks before the end of term can certainly be a challenge, especially if you're competing against the oncoming lazy summer days. But you don't have to throw up your hands in defeat. I'm going to be sharing some of my studio's favorite summer activities, or more specifically, pre-summer activities, whether you teach online, in person, or travel to your students. If we haven't met before, I'm Rosemary Penner, online piano teacher and composer at Must Love Music. I just wanted to actually take a moment in this video and say thank you, because we have over 1,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing, for liking, for commenting on the videos. I have appreciated those so much. I hope that I can continue to help you with your studio. For people who are watching that they are learning piano, that I can continue to support your journey. Just thank you very, very much. I've had students who really do a great impression of Dog in Up. You know, where he's talking to you and then suddenly squirrel. And he does that all the time. You know, maybe just metaphorically raise your hand or hit the like button if you are a piano teacher and your students do this right around this time of year, right before summer vacation. I have a feeling I'm not the only one. And I have a feeling I'm not the only one who in the past has been rather concerned that this squirrel behavior is happening right at re-registration time. You've had students engaged in your lessons all year long, and suddenly summer is just around the corner, and parents are thinking, should we sign them up for piano lessons? And then they look over and their kid is completely distracted. I know it's not good timing, is it? It takes time, but just like me, you can create a toolbox of activities to use without any sort of prep whatsoever so that you can get your students engaged and make sure that you've got smiles going on as well. And P.S., it's not just the students who tend to be ready for summer. I know me, I tend to want to take it a little easier those last few weeks before vacation. So every idea I'm giving you, these are no prep ideas or very little prep on your side of things. If you're doing any kind of prep, it's during lesson time with your student. So idea one is something we actually just finished doing in my studio last week. And it was amazing to see how connected my students were with their parents. What I'm talking about are student-led conferences, and these work fantastic for communicating progress to non-musical parents, as well as building student confidence while you're doing it. Now, you might be thinking there's a couple groups that this wouldn't work for. You're thinking, okay, fine, like the littles, you can do this. But I'm going to give you two surprising examples where student-led conferences work really well. The first is actually late intermediate to early advanced students. I had a student, he was teaching his mom two, more advanced rhythmic concepts. The first one was switching or alternating time signatures within a piece. It was something that he had really enjoyed doing. The other one was actually polyrhythms. So it was a 3/2 rhythm. His mom was definitely nervous at first, but we found a way that both of those concepts could be taught at a level his mom was able to understand. And this is the best part. We worked on modifying two different pieces he had done earlier in the year so that it was something she could play as a duet with him. It was just a small section, like 4 measures. Here's a mom who does not play piano, who is playing more advanced concepts in a way that she could connect with her son. The second one is actually when you have students with unique learner needs, so maybe they're neurodivergent or whatever it may be. A lot of times these students don't get to be the expert. It means that them getting to share what they've learned is a really cool thing. They are taking responsibility. They're having a chance to take a leadership role in a way that maybe they don't get too much in the rest of their life. The nice part here is if you have already taught your students special adaptations or given them tips to help them learn concepts, chances are those would be fantastic to teach the parent as well. In these cases, maybe you might be guiding a little bit more, asking leading questions, and that's totally fine. You can do that. And parents love it because they kind of get bragging rights as well. Hey, guess what? My kid is doing this, and look, I can even show you on the piano. Like, I can't believe I can play this. If this sounds a little overwhelming, I have included a link in the description to the planning sheet that my students use in our studio. It really guides you as a teacher and your students step by step exactly how you're going to teach it to a parent, regardless of what the concept is. Idea number 2 is something that we tend to do with our students anyways, and that's review music or review pieces from the year. This is a great idea to be able to let students see how far they've come, whether it's just a few months with you, or maybe it's been 10 months or 11 months or a year. Here's the thing, just going through the songs as written, you need to change it up. It's not going to keep your students' interest for very long. One of the things that we have done in my studio is we've used 5 ways practice strategies. These are PDFs that have 5 different ways that a student can change or that they can interact with the music that they are playing. These are great throughout the year, but I actually like using them at the end of the year where students can then choose different things. And so not only are they reviewing, but they get to change it up. If you have students that really love a challenge, you could even use it as a bingo card and then have a prize for whatever student goes through the most number of them. I'll drop the link in the description in case you're interested in that. I love the fact that this is 0 extra work for me. And it's really it's highly engaging for students. And for students that they are feeling a little overwhelmed, then maybe could do a quick review of a piece, but then you could get them to improvise using the music. Maybe you work together to pull out the chord progression, maybe even the accompaniment pattern, and then the student can create a melody on top of that. If they're feeling super overwhelmed, I have some students that are going through provincial exams this month. I'm planning on making sure that their stuff is pretty easy. Maybe we do it as a duet. Maybe I'm playing the chord progression and accompaniment pattern, and then the student, they can just improvise. If you have students that really like creating things, you could use, again, the chord progression from that and get them to create a backing track. This could be something that could be done in GarageBand, iReal Pro. There's lots of different options. This is something that could be done during lesson time. Again, it's a no practice one. If a student has some practice, you can just go, not a problem. Let's pull this material and create something new. Idea number 3 is something that I've been using for years in my studio. And I use these actually in several different ways. And these are digital escape rooms. They are fantastic as a self-study for motivated students. You could use it as a really chill, active listening activity during the piano lesson. This is perfect for students that are feeling overwhelmed with, as I'd mentioned, exams or end of term projects. It's also really easy to pull in lesson time, that if, the lesson's maybe not going as well as you had hoped, switch gears, pull up a digital escape room within seconds. It's also highly customizable. So I use these with pretty much every level of student that I have. I've used these with absolute beginners and I've used them with more advanced students. The reason it works and it's customizable is while the questions may be the same, I can ask or give more guidance depending on what the student actually needs. A more advanced student, sure, they can answer the question, but then I may ask them, a little bit more in terms of more information or going deeper into that particular concept. So that's how you can use these across your studio. Again, link is in the description. If you have students that are all of a sudden leaving for vacation early and parents are saying, oh, could you just pull together some stuff? Digital escape rooms, also wonderful for that. The previous 3 ideas, they could work whether you teach private lessons or group lessons, but idea 4 is a little bit more geared towards private lesson students. So if you have private lesson students, consider doing group lessons. We always have a group lesson in my studio before major holidays for private students. It's much more social. It creates a great studio community. It's great for review. And it accepts the fact that students are probably already in vacation mode the week before the holiday. It also frees up your schedule as well. Instead of you teaching a full teaching schedule right to the end, if you have private students, having group lessons means you can really reduce that teaching time and hopefully get that last little bit of admin done before your holidays. For younger students, I would definitely recommend alternate between movement and then activities where they're sitting. I used to really wear out my students when I did in-person group lessons. Parents would come pick up their kids and go, how did you wear them out? Well, I have twins, so I am, very used to trying to wear kids out. Plan for more than what you need, just in case an activity maybe doesn't work out. What I find is very rarely is it that an activity doesn't work out, but it's nice to have the extra. Kids get into it. They get really excited. And if you're creating a team So it could even be students versus the teacher. This is fantastic, and it just creates those warm, fuzzy feelings, you know? I do have 2 honorable mentions, and I'm saying honorable mentions not because I haven't done these, but I don't do them as much because I'm online, but they were a huge hit when I was teaching in person. So one of them, apps. Oh my goodness, there are so many apps. With apps, you can review a lot of different things in a fun way. They're having fun, they're engaging, and then you can take that moment to talk to the parent, say, you know what, look how much fun they're having, and this is what they're working on right now. This is what they're learning, or this is what they're reviewing. The second honorable mention, I used to bring sidewalk chalk with me when I travel taught. My students loved it. We would draw rhythms, musical terms, musical symbols. We would do all sorts of stuff. By the time I left, the whole driveway and usually the sidewalk in front would be covered. You can take a couple pictures as long as you have parental permission, and then you could put those on your social media. So that's something really fun. If your students are feeling a little unfocused or, maybe even a little bored during piano lessons right before the summer holidays, have no fear. Here's 4 activities that you can do with them. 1, student-led conferences. These create those warm, fuzzy feelings all around. Parents love them because they can connect with their kids and see what their kids have been working on, and kids have a chance to show off what they've learned. Idea 2, reviewing pieces with a twist. You can create a studio challenge that anybody can participate if they want, or you could just have it during lesson time. Something like the 5 ways practice strategies. My students really loved getting a new sheet, and each of the sheets would have 5 different ways that they could play a review song. Option 3 is digital escape rooms. These are fantastic for active listening, and if you're doing them in a group lesson, then they're also really great for team building or creating that positive studio vibe. And idea 4, if you teach students privately or one-on-one, do group lessons. Not only does it free up your schedule, but the change in the routine and the change in schedule is oftentimes welcome, not just by the students, but by the parents as well. I would love to hear from you. What are some of the struggles that you've had with your students that are already in a summer mindset? Or perhaps which of these activities are you thinking of using in your studio? All the links to the things that I talked about are in the description. If you want ready-to-use options for your lessons this week, you can go ahead and follow those and get them today. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.